Hello, folks. Thank you again for joining me today. So, I want to speak about something within the AWS security service. But before then, once again, my name is John Kayode Abisi, and my job sit at the intersection of software and product security engineering and architecture. So, this morning, I want to talk about a particular AWS service that is not really let me say, well known. Like people, there is not so much buzzword about it, but it's something that's very important within your cloud and application workflow architecture. So it's called Amazon Verified Permission. It's a fully managed CEDAR service for fine-grained, authorization policy. Now, what is Amazon Verified Permission, and why the use of it? The first thing I want to say is that verified permission helps you to implement and enforce fine-grained authorization on resources within your application. So what it does is that this is a self-managed service within AWS ecosystem that allows developers to focus on their development effort about building enterprise applications, but why they can kind of leverage, this kind of service for authorization and permission, for permission and authorization. So that is what it does. So here, applications like HR systems and banking applications can be, can be used along, or let me say, can employ the capability of Amazon verified permissions. You can so what you can do with that, you can define a policy-based access model that describe the resources managed by your application and the actions that could be allowed on that resource. That shows that it allows you to say, okay, this is the resource being managed by my application. This particular resource, you can view it, you can update it, you can delete it, maybe you can share it. So this policy engine called verified permission allows you to do that, outside of your main application. So that is the capability it provides you. It provides application user with the ability to manage access. Yes, with the ability to manage access to those resources. The application creates a permission for the specialist to view, update the record, and then store it in a verified information. So the other thing is that it allows that particular user with the with this capability to to manage access to these resources. It provides them the permission to create, the permission to to create permissions, like the permission to create permission, yes, to maybe update and do those those attributes that you want it to do, and it allows you to enforce those permissions that has been that was created. Now, why use this particular service? Dynamic authorization with Cognito. This particular service work very well with Cognito. You remember Cognito is a customer identity and access management. So Cognito allows a developer to outsource, like the customer, identity and access management for applications that that have customer interaction to AWS access. AWS service. In this case now, this is another service within AWS ecosystem that allows developer to outsource their permission and their policy engine, to another AWS environment. So that shows that this can work with Cognito. It pairs with identity provider like Amazon Cognito to deliver centralized real-time policy engine that evaluate access request in milliseconds. So it works with Cognito to provide access even to customers, based applications. Then the other one I want to talk about here is fine-grained zero trust security. It enforces zero fine-grained access control based on roles, identity, and resources. So it's in a simple English, it helps you to enforce granular, fine-grained what access policy based, maybe based on user, maybe based on resources, maybe based on roles, and it allows for faster development, which is like the core of this capability, and lower cost. That shows that you don't have to begin to, hard code your authorization mechanism into your application. You have an authorization engine, a permission policy engine within AWS ecosystem that you can leverage within your application. So, core capability, external policy as a code authorization engine. I've explained that. That shows that you don't need to do the whole job yourself of hard coding or building your authorization engine. You can leverage on AWS provided services. Structured entity action resources context modeling. So here, a legal contract that evaluates assets based on 4 concrete details. Who is asking? What specific contract action are they trying to trigger? We have the principal, we have the action, we have the resource, and we have the context. So this is a structured action resource context that this particular policy engine, follow. Like principal, who is asking for permission into that particular resource? What action do you want to perform on it? On what resource exactly? And under which context? So these are the things that verified permission kind of brings to the table. Strict order, independent evaluation, and deny override. So we have how does this happen? A multi-layered bank vault. Or let me give you an example. Okay, minimize misconfiguration risk through deterministic evaluation principle. So AVP enforces default implicit deny posture. So this is a zero trust. It doesn't implicitly, it denies everything that comes. But if it's defined in the policy engine to allow for a particular principle, in a particular context for a particular resources, that would be allowed. So this gives security team that opportunity to manage things from central point, from security stand-alone application or solution, without having to get into the application internal applications workings and stuff like that. The other thing I want to talk about core capability is that schema-driven policy validation and group hierarchy mapping. So enforces architectural safety through policy stall schema. AVP validates syntax, data types, and structure entity relationship at policy creation time rather than runtime. So at policy creation time, it enforces some hierarchy, some mapping that will ensure more security outlook than what a homegrown can easily provide. So what are the business problems that this really solved? So extreme technical depth of hard-coded authorization rules. So like I said, AVP is an authorization engine. So now, if what we are doing is that you are outsourcing, you are leveraging an existing AWS service for your authorization services. So what the business problem is solving here is that you don't have to have that technical depth of doing it yourself. Number 2 is dangerous discrepancies and security drift across multiple service stack. If you do it yourself, there is tendency that you have discrepancies and security drift across your applications, maybe across your services. But if you have a single point of view, or a single point of engine where authorization is implemented, is updated, is managed for your applications and services, that will solve that problem. Then the third one is incomplete visibility and audit gap for regulatory demands. If you have different applications having their own internal authorization engine, that could lead to some gap in governance and compliance. So but with this engine, out of the box, AWS enabled, tested and well enterprise in nature, you can be sure that you have a single pane of glass where you can have access to your audit and your compliance information. And yeah, with that, I come to the end of this particular service, and I will do a hands-on to follow this up, and I will link it on the at the bottom of the table. I mean, at the bottom of the video. Thank you.